assignments, doubts, exams. We have got you back. EduPlanner make every chapter easy to understand. Stay tuned, learn more, grow with us.
In this example, we're going to allow a little permanent magnet here with north and south pole to fall through this conductive ring here. And we want to try to explain why the magnet slows down as it passes through this ring. And then what we're going to do is break our current loop here and show why if we break the loop, then the same thing will not happen and the magnet will just fall normally. So the first thing to realize is, since this is a permanent magnet here, it's going to have a magnetic field, right? And it's going to have field lines that look something like this. Not the best artist in the world, but that's okay. So the field lines will point out at first, right, from the North Pole, and they'll loop around. So pointing towards the South Pole. So we can see as our magnet falls through this loop is going to see an increase in flux in the down direction, or the minus y direction, right? So we can denote that by little x's here. So if there's going to be an increase in magnetic flux through our loop, so that is, the flux is going up in time, and the direction of our field for that flux is in minus y. Because of this, we know there's going to be an induced current in our loop. Because if we have a change in flux by Faraday's law, we know there's going to be an induced EMF, right, if we have a change in flux over time. And if there's an induced EMF in this closed loop, we're going to have an induced current. So let's see what the direction of that current is going to be. Well, from Lenz's law, we can determine that. We know that the flux is increasing when it's falling into the ring here. And since it's increasing in the minus y direction, we want to oppose that increase in the minus y direction. So we want to go in the opposite direction. So we want a field that points in plus y. And to do that, by the right-hand rule, if we just point our finger in the positive y direction, or our thumb in the positive y direction, and curl our hand around with our fingers curled, we can see that the current will go in the counterclockwise direction, like this. Now let's look at what that what the field is going to look like from that induced current. So here's a simplification of our ring here, with the current going around like this. If you remember, a current loop is going to produce its own magnetic field, right? And it's actually going to be very much like that of a magnet. So we know that in the center of our ring, the magnetic field should just be pointing straight up. But out towards the edges, it sort of veers off and loops around the ring just like a magnet does. So something like this. So you can think of our little current ring here as a magnet, where this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. And if that's the case, really what we're dealing with here is effectively we're creating another magnet by inducing this current with a North Pole pointing against the North Pole of our other magnet, right? So north versus north here. And if that's the case, we know that these are going to oppose each other, because like poles force each other away. So it makes total sense that we'd expect this magnet to slow down as it passes through the loop. Now imagine that we broke the loop. Why does this effect no longer happen? So let's just put a little break in our loop, like that. Well, if we do that, of course, we won't be able to have any flow of current, right? We'll have a buildup of some charges. We'll build up some plus charges here, some minus charges here, but really current won't be allowed to flow once those charges build up. So if there's no current, we're not going to have that induced magnetic field, and there will be nothing to repulse our permanent magnet here. So there you have it. There's a brief explanation of why a permanent magnet will slow down when it falls through a conductive loop.